What's up everyone? In this video I'm going to replace the cruise control selection module here on this 2012 Chevy Sonic LT. This is the 1.8 4-cylinder non-turbo version. We've got the spare part right here, and we're going to first start off by disconnecting the battery. So first let's go ahead and disconnect the negative terminal. Put this aside. Now I want to go ahead and wrap this terminal in a blanket just so that it doesn't touch anything else for the time being. Okay, now let's move on to the positive terminal. We'll disconnect that as well. Make sure there's no connection with the positive terminal of the battery. Now again, you can do this with these rags like I do it here, or you can just go ahead and take out the battery just in case. But we're going to leave this here for a little while, and after that we'll come back and get inside and unscrew some screws and bolts from the steering wheel. Now let's go ahead and turn the steering wheel like this so we have access behind this area right here. You also want to go ahead and extend out the steering wheel. So mine's already out as far as possible. Now I'll stick this Phillips screwdriver in here, and then once we start prying it to a different direction, one side here will start to loosen up, and then we'll do the same on the other side until this thing pops out. You will go ahead and stick this in here, kind of facing outwards, so this way towards the outside, and then you want to do this until the steering wheel here kind of pops open on one side. And we'll do the same thing here. And this should pop out. Now once the airbag is popped out of its clips here, again, you want to be careful with it. I put on my nitride gloves just to make sure that I don't attract electricity and cause any kind of static. So after that, we're going to go ahead and pop open these yellow clips. Once you got the airbag hanging here, now you may have one or two wires. For me, I have two. And you want to go ahead and disconnect the airbag carefully, and ideally I recommend you wear nitride gloves to make sure that you don't attract any kind of static. So we're going to go ahead and don't use any kind of metal tools, just use your hands or your fingers. Pull these tabs out, okay? You want to go and pull out these connectors. Okay, takes sometimes a little bit of force, but it's okay. And then the second one. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and place the airbag right here. And now we have a little bit extra space to work with. All right, now flipping the steering wheel back around, facing upright, we want to go ahead and take off the cover on this side since we're doing the cruise control. The same would apply for this side as well. You can use a plastic removal tool, or you can use your fingers, or anything else that won't damage or crack the plastic. Again, this is the area where you have to be really careful. Now once you loosen this up with some kind of pry tool or your fingers, you're going to notice that it's still attached to this plastic piece right here with two hex screws, one right here and one right there. Also, you're going to notice some things will fall out, possibly, which is going to be these things right here. These are the little tabs that make the connection between the buttons here and the actual module right there. But in this case, it's not going to matter because we're replacing the whole thing. So let's focus on getting these two screws in the back removed. Once you got the two hex screws from the back, I use a little tiny ratchet with the bit. Once you got those two out, this will pop out real easy. Put that aside. Okay. And now what we have here is this actual module for the cruise control. Now press the tab with your fingers right here. Right there. And then just pull it out. It's pretty easy. So once we got that, this should pop out. Now, once you pull that out, you're gonna notice that it comes in 2 pieces. I pulled this a little too hard. I thought it would pop right out, but when I pulled this end, it came out no problem. When I started pulling the other end, it cracked a little bit. So if that happens, you might want to get some super glue to put that together if you're putting it back. Otherwise, this is pretty much as good as trash, because we got our new module right here. Now comes the easy part. We're gonna go ahead and take this new module, attach it back to this trim piece right here with the 2 screws, hex screws, and then we're gonna pop it back into the socket right here. And then we're gonna go ahead and finish up by plugging this back in. Now that we got this hex screw screwed on and this one is screwed on, now we can pop this back into place, carefully of course. Word of advice, whenever you put these screws back in, start with this one first, and then that way this side gets secured and this side here becomes easier as a result. Go ahead and pop this in here. There we go, look at that, look how flush that is. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and plug this back in. And that one is done. The cruise control module has been replaced. And right now, if assuming the reason your cruise control doesn't work is because of this module, then this should fix it. And of course, if replacing this doesn't do it, we're gonna have to look into it further. Now make sure that the airbag is facing the proper direction. You can see the airbag word right there. Make sure that's the proper side up. And from there, we can go ahead and start making the connections. You want to make sure you line up all the tabs into the proper spots. So the one down there, don't freak out, there's only one, at least for me, because you can see down there, there's only one hole, not 2. So we're gonna make sure we line this up to the one at the bottom there, and then these right here to these clips right there. Again, that is actually where we put the screwdriver in earlier to pull them apart to make this airbag pop out. There we go. So airbag is in there properly, and now we can go ahead and start connecting the battery. So let's go ahead and reconnect the positive terminal first. All right, and let's go ahead and get a little ratchet to make this tighter. There we go. Let's go ahead and hand tighten this. Alright, so we got the cruise control turned on right here. As you can see, the white light. Let's go ahead and take this car up to speed and see if the speed stays. That should turn green once it sticks. And it looks like it is not the cruise control that is the problem, at least not this module, so we're gonna have to look into another area to see what's going on as to why it's not sticking. Nothing. Yep. So this is how you replace the cruise control module on a 2012 Chevy Sonic LT. Now, this will most likely apply to other Chevy Sonics just like this one, specifically in the same generation as this 2012 version is, probably 2013, 2014s, etc. Some cars don't have the cruise control option here, so of course if you had these buttons to replace, you know, the audio controls, same would apply. Again, I can't stress enough that disconnect the battery at least 30-45 minutes, let it sit there, wear nitrite gloves or some kind of rubber gloves, and make sure you're not rubbing yourself up around the seats or things too much to where that would create static, because you want to be careful taking out the airbag, because this is really the most dangerous part here. So otherwise, hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos. See you in the next one.